What's up, guys? Ashan here with the Sean Deli Book Channel, and today I have for you the second installment in what is soon becoming one of my favorite series of all time, and that is the First Law Trilogy, and we are on to book 2, Before They Are Hanged, and we will soon be doing Last Arguments of Kings as I finish both of them very, very quickly right after each other because the story was just too bloody good. Obviously, I'm going to go very quickly into a spoiler section right away. If you don't know a lot about this story, I'll do a quick, brief explanation. This is very, very classic, grim, dark fantasy. The fantastical elements is actually not very present. Like, there's not any wizarding or magic really happening that often, except between a few characters. It's more political developments, more intrigues, and more plots driven by character progression and character development. If those are things that are interesting to you, and also by far the most interesting character in fantasy, in my personal humble opinion, definitely check out the book. Without further ado, let's get on to spoilers. All right. This book, many argue, it's not the most necessarily exciting book, and a lot of people keep claiming that this is just setup, this wasn't really, like, he's building, but I actually thought this was very, very fantastic for a lot of different reasons, because for one, this will most likely be this trilogy is most likely the first easing in of everybody to this world, to the Joe Abercrombie world, and so you get a good view of the world. The North is explored a lot more in this book. The Daguska is explored a lot more, and you get to see elements of the story slowly creep in. Personally, my favorite part of every story, as everybody knows, is lore and backstory. Yay! Backstory! And we got a lot of that in this book. Specifically, the backstory of Juvens and who was Bayaz's first master, and then he started recruiting other people, and there was the 12 Magi, and that whole story is absolutely fantastic, and we get to meet a bunch of those, the Magi, and you're like, okay, well, these guys are obviously going to play a big part in the story down the line. We had already obviously met Yulwei in book 1, so we had a kind of an idea of what was happening there. And we obviously, Bayaz being Bayaz is part of the main story. But then we got to meet, we're getting more introduction to Khalul, which is the prophet for the Gurkish. He's leading the Gurkish army. He's the leader of the Gurkish army, and it's like, oh shit. He's kind of more powerful than Bayaz is because he, made himself this religious figure. Great strategy, by the way, to take over a country and maintain power. Make yourself a religious leader. People love religious leaders. It's great. Do it. Heavily recommended. More stories. If you're going to write a character you want him to take over, make him the Messiah. People usually are willing to die for them quite willingly, in the name of the greater good. And then we also have the Fellowship, which is, I'm going to just refer to them as the Fellowship, which is Jezal, Bayaz, Logan, Pharaoh, Brother Longfoot, and Malachus Kai, which Malachus is a little different than the Malachus we had previously. He's been a little bit moody. Weird. Caught that. But Brother Longfoot, kind of funny. Pharaoh, annoying as always. Never liked the character. Don't like the character. Didn't like her at the end of the 3rd book either. She's just not my favorite cup of tea. Logan, just a bro. Logan's just a bro. The Bloody Nine, absolute badass monster. Kind of scary. I'm a little terrified whenever the Bloody Nine shows up, but shit's about to go down. And specifically in the audiobook, it's fantastic. The Bloody Nine. It's great. And then Jezal actually has almost a epiphany in the middle of this book. It's hilarious. Where he's like, maybe I should be a better person. And he starts actually becoming a better person. Hilarious. absolute hilarious. And there's like, obviously, it's like one of those things. The love of a good woman will set you free. It's one of those moments for Giselle. Hilarious. Baez is just being Baez and just keeps changing plans. It's like, does this guy actually know what the fuck he's doing? We don't know, but it seems like it is. I'll finish that story first. The history's being told is very interesting. The whole he goes over to Canadius after he betrays Juvens. He sorts out the new master, and then he starts getting a little bit freaky on with Canadius' daughter. Obviously a red flag. Don't do that. And Canadius throws him away, which causes the fight, which leads to Canadius and Ptolemy dying. Suspicious. Very suspicious. There's more story involved here. I'm interested to find out. I believe there's something, it might be in the next book, so I'll wait to talk about it. But at the end, when they get to the seed, which we still don't really know what the seed... The seed. The seed is the seed. It's like the dragon scroll from Kung Fu Panda was what I was thinking. And we got there, and it wasn't there. I'm like, oh, well, that's disappointing. That's literally Kung Fu Panda. The seed is inside you. No, that would be fantastic. That would have been hilarious, actually. But a little bit of an anticlimactic ending when we get there, and Baez is just furious that the seat's not there, and he's like, what the fuck? Came all this way, and the seat's freaking here. But anyway, good bonding moment. Obviously, Giselle is someone important. We can kind of gather that. There's a reason Baez is carrying him around. He's teaching him all these political stuff. Obviously, he's going to become a player in the courtroom situation on the other side. And then, let's move on with, after the fellowship, we have Glokta, my favorite character. Inquisitor Glokta in Daguska. And there's all these fantastic storylines in Daguska. He's pretty much sent there on a... You literally can't really do anything. Just make the best of what you can. It's literally, you're given baking soda and a couple Pop-Tarts, and you're asked to make a gourmet meal. And you know what? He kind of does okay. Glokta does pretty well. He finds out who killed the guy before him. The number one thing I loved this piece was when he lets the elder leave, when he gives her that second chance. That was a fantastic moment to me, because it's like, Glokta's obviously not the best character of all time. He's morally quite gray, approaching black, but he has these moments where you're like, damn, I love this guy. And that was a really good one. I really enjoyed that. And then the Valentin bulk situation, you're like, okay, who the fuck are these people? The banks are never... They're always the evil ones. I love how the banks are portrayed in this story completely. Beautiful. Masterpiece. But when it comes to Glokta in Daguska, I think it was more set up for this deal that he made with Valentin Bulk. Valentin Bulk came in, they're like, we'll just give you all the money. You need money? We have money. Here's all the money. And Glokta's able to pretty much buy himself some time to secure the city. But, like, the Gurkish were going to win. It wasn't really that crazy of a deal. When Yolwe showed up, that was interesting. Why was he helping Glokta? I still don't understand necessarily, but whatever. That's fun. And Glokta, in the end, was able to go back to Adjua, where the Gurkish have sent an emissary, like, yo, listen, we're going to come. We're going to win. Y'all fighting the war in the north. Half your army's not here. This will be pretty easy if you just kind of let us just come in and just give us the city. You guys can still be king and do your union stuff, but you'll just, answer to Kalul and the king, Great. But they're like, no, and Salt. Salt is a sneaky little guy. We don't know what the deal with Salt is exactly yet, because there's something going on there, obviously, and it seems he's very much okay with the war with the Gurkish, because he's just like, oh yeah, the emissary killed the king, the other prince. Did he though? Most likely not. And when Gluckta's like questioning this, Valent and Bulk show up and they're like, hey, no, shh. Stop investigating. You're done. We have a deal. You're done. So it's kind of, you're pretty obviously told, like, this guy's being framed. So there's something going on with Salt and all the backroom stuff. Closed council nonsense. So we'll see what happens in the next book with that. And then we have the North, which is actually a lot more interesting in the story. The Dogman and the crew start joining up with the Union a little bit. West gets involved. The West becomes furious. Love that. Such a great name for West. It's so, like, both good. It completely categorizes West's personality, because that's who he is. A little bit of a temper. This is one of by far my favorite scenes of writing that I've enjoyed in many years. And it was a scene where, after Prince Ladislaw is attempting to rape Cathiel, and West just shows up and shoves him off the mountain. Fantastic moment. He's like, what did I just do? No big deal. Nobody has to know. You're obviously, and there's been like some like back and forth between him and Cathiel. So you're like, all right, they're gonna hook up. Obviously. And when they get back to camp, he goes looking for her to like see if she's okay. One of those. Yeah, we've all done that. I was just checking to see if she's okay. No big deal. And she's hooking up with the Dogman, which, Dogman's a bro. We all love the Dogman. But it's just like one of those moments where you're just like, oh, I didn't see that coming. That's not usually how these stories are written. And then Cathiel shows up and she's like, listen, you're just a little too angry for me. And it's like, that's so true. I really enjoyed that. That was very, very well written. And then we also get introduced to Pike. Seems like an interesting character. But stuff going on there, obviously. My favorite part is Ladislaw was such an idiot. Oh, God. Kings who are not supposed to be kings. The problems of feudalism have evidently shown in this story. But my favorite, she's just like, we need to attack. It's like, why? No, we don't. We should definitely not attack. We're going to attack. We lose very badly. We also get to see Fenris the Feared. In action. He's kind of freaking amazing at fighting. Kills a bunch of people. Cathiel. 3 trees. Moment of silence. 3 trees is no longer with us. I enjoyed 3 trees. Not as much as the weakest. Weakest was you'll always be my favorite. To weakest. In loving memory. And Dogman becomes chief. That's pretty much, we end off with Dogman chief. The Bayaz and the Fellowship not finding the seed, and the Gorkish war starting with the Union, while the war on the North is still happening. It's like, the Union are kind of fucked as far as it's concerned on all fronts, and it's great. So that's pretty much where we end off, and that is the kind of my analysis of Before They Are Hanged. I loved it, honestly. I thought it was fantastic from beginning to end. You get a lot more character development. You see a little bit more of Gluckta's personality. Giselle has major benefits. He becomes so much of a better character to read. Logan and Pharaoh's relationship is just funny, because it's like, she just hates him at the same time while they're having sex. It's hilarious. And she's just so filled with hatred, she just can't not hate. So, but whatever. It's a little bit weird. I don't know exactly how that's going to end up, but we move on. I did enjoy a lot of the aspects of this book and would highly recommend it. And we will be back with a review for book 3, which is the final part of the trilogy. My fingers looked weird there. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you let me know what you guys thought. The main reason that I made this channel was just to discuss ideas and thoughts about this book. Tell me what you guys liked. Tell me what I didn't analyze or what I didn't talk about. Tell me if my hair looks weird, because it looks weird and I don't know what to do with it, but I'm going to cut it, so it's fine. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.